Chapter 17. A Step into Family Central. A year after becoming one of Fort Knox's professionals, I was sent off to my advanced individual training nestled not too far from Alexandria, Norfolk, Richmond, and D.C., weeks before any other soldiers would arrive, to ensure my commanding officer had plenty of time to work with me. In their greed for control, my military handlers attempted to combine different portions of my personality, a project often referred to as selective integration. It is their way of reforming or patterning once split personalities back together. They did not go about it with brute force as the families did, but rather with advanced technologies and equipment. What they do is meddling with the body and the soul, and it is very dangerous. I do not believe there is any way to return the mind to become a whole soul without the working of the Holy Spirit and the surrendering to the great physician. The programmers who do this work do so under the influence of another spirit. As they shoved these personalities together, I underwent tremendous amounts of pain, nosebleeds, nausea, headaches, and blackouts. Alone in those barracks, I fractured along their scored lines, and then was stitched together with soldiers' personalities, as well as blade. The combination of these inner parts was crafted and woven into a new personality. After the endless cycle of torment, training, and field work were winding down, I was given a new identity, a new name. 2 dog tags were given to me, and I became another man whose identity had been created long ago. I would, from that day forward, go by J.A.S.O.N.S. Fair warning now to the other so-called J.A.S.O.N.S. J.A.S.O.N.S. Those quests for the Golden Fleece will not bring you redemption, restoration, and relief. He alone can. Statecraft and fieldwork tested me to the limits, and I soon realized that so many of the targets I was sent after were just like the ones my family had sent me to eradicate. They were in many ways monsters, but they were just pawns. They were the surface-level bait to keep the inner kings, queens, CEOs, cardinals, and bishops safe. Time after time, they would send me out, and I would return with their black books, harvested DNA, or whatever else my handlers wanted. I had more autonomy within my trade, but I was becoming an alpha wolf, let out on a walk. My master holding his pistol ready should ever I turn their way. The dangers of letting the wolf out of his cage can cost much more than a life. The days would come when I would turn on them all and seek the dismantling of their empires of soil stained red from the blood of their victims. But while the weeks dragged on, I began to have my thoughts crowd out the programming. The more they worked me over, the deeper access I had to memories once separated from me. I began to experience bleed over or flooding, much like individuals with PTSD who have intrusive thoughts and flashbacks. These personalities carried with them memories of things my core personality had not known. I began to realize how many times my handlers had lied to me, and so often the targets they selected were not my abusers, pedophiles, or traffickers, but rather grudges, contract work, and ways to climb the pyramid of power. Black dragons and those intelligent groups of old have insatiable appetites no man on fire can hope to satisfy. I soon saw that truth which I'd been blind to for so many years of my life. Within 18 months of my public enlistment, the tattered pieces of my patch quilt soul would unravel. I began to do the unthinkable. I started to remember. I began to think for myself, and I chose to disobey a master's commands. The dangers of having an asset out of direct control are tremendous, and so a decision was made. Before they programmed me to end my own life, my dad made a wager against his only son. Ever eager to add to his bloody empire, my dad made sure to have me change my mother from the sole proprietor to my military's $500,000 life insurance policy to himself. Just a few months later, I would be shot and stabbed multiple times, bleeding to death on the patio of one of their many houses. I would stare out over the cold mountain valley and watch my all too familiar spirit come to harvest my perishing soul.